Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a great show lined up. We'll get started with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin Road and Highway 77. Run by, check out all the varied programs they have there to offer all of us. Now, listen, today's high. We'll get back in this cool weather again. We had a little respite yesterday, but we are back in it tonight. It's going to get down to 30. The high today is going to be 53, and the water temperature stays at 56 degrees. Now, let's look at our river readings. Our place go to Bluntstown. It's staying high. Now, we've had high water here going over about 10 days now. It's reading 11.3 at Bluntstown, and it's going to stay that way. They got the gates open at the Jim Woodruff Dam up there in Chattahoochee. And it's pouring on down here. Getting a lot of rain up there. Choctahatchee at Caryville, same way. Getting a lot of rain up there in South Alabama. It's reading a 10.5, and it's actually going up today. And Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's going to be rising on up to about 11.5 foot. So we're going to be in some high water this weekend. Now, our tide chart, looking at our tides, we have a low tide this morning at 6:34. And a high tide at 8:28 this morning, okay? Got a 1.8 foot range there. Our marine forecast, I'll check on it really quick. We're going to look at winds northwest at 10 to 20 today. So that takes care of our weather, so we'll take a break and be right back. Welcome back, and good morning, Ronnie Groom.
Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Ronnie.
Good,
We're sitting here talking we'll talk about later, too. We're about to get into our favorite part of the year in hunting.
Yes, sir. The bucks are really starting to move now, and we checked a nice one in yesterday in our buck contest at the store, and it's time to perk up now. Let's go.
Okay, that was a real good one. You said. He
was a pretty good. He was a 9-point, and I would say he scored 120, something like that.
Okay,
that's a good deer in Florida, I can tell you.
Yeah, that each year. How many years have you been doing the big buck contest?
Lord, I don't know, 20,
forever,
30. Yeah.
It's always some really good deer coming out of there.
Yeah, it's time, and if you're not registered for the deer contest, you need to come down and sign up. It won't cost anything. All you gotta do is come down and sign up, and if you shoot a deer, just bring the horns in. Call, make sure I'm there because I measure all of them, and come by and we'll measure them and get you entered in the contest. And everybody that comes down and registers is going to be in a drawing for a $100 gift certificate.
That's a good deal. And what are the prizes?
I forget the amounts. We give gift certificates, pretty significant gift certificates for first, second, third place. Anybody can enter.
And it's an honor too. More important, it's an honor to win that thing.
Oh yeah,
there's some good competition.
Yeah, we give you a good plaque to put on your wall, and and make you look good.
Okay, now we brought some neat stuff this morning. Always got some good stuff. So what all you want to start with?
Let's start with this. This is a buckhorn mounting kit right here. This thing is really nice. Not all deer are mountable, but you want to keep the horns usually, particularly for a youngster or somebody. So you get these, and they're simple to use. Everything's there you need. You just cut off the horns, put it in there, put the cover over it, put a screw in the back of it, and it holds it in, and you got it forever and ever.
I want to say something about that. We still have some of my son's first buck, and if you'd asked me today when did he shoot, I had no idea, but I can go back on that little date right there.
Right.
And it's so
we can
important.
engrave that plate for you, the date and the time and everything. It's really so nice. And you can take old ones. You can have horns 20 years old and get them out and mount them up. And I've seen them, and I've done it. Put a row of them, across a wall or in your bull barn or somewhere. It just looks good, and it's a lot of memories there.
Yeah, well, one of the best memories we have is something from this, and my dad once in his lifetime got 2 bucks at one time, and we mounted one. They were not walled hangers, but they were still nice.
Sure,
bucks running together.
They don't have to be walled hangers.
Exactly, and they were running together, and we have them mounted on something like that, and we've got the date on it, exactly where it was.
Telling me about somebody that killed a 4-point, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Just, it's all in the eyes of the beholder what you shoot.
Yeah, that was my grandson got his first one, so we're going to have that video coming up. Whenever I get a minute to put it in there, but
good.
You got one Saturday afternoon.
Good deal.
All right, so what else we got?
We've got some things here for the deer hunters. One thing we carry, if your feeder messes up, the motor quits on you, we got the motors. We got 6 and 12-volt motors. You don't have to buy a whole nother feeder, just come in and put a motor in there. A lot of times these things will freeze up, or eventually they may even wear out. But I've got some that run for years and years, so we carry the parts and
That's
pieces.
a good idea. Just replaceable motor.
Just
Have one
replace
with you
the
ready when you
motor.
walk up in the woods.
We carry the spinner plates and other parts to feeders. And this is a nice thing right here. This is a charger for your feeder. This is for a 6-volt. We carry them for a 12-volt also. You just hook it up, and the sun shines on it and keeps your feeder charged up. Nothing's more disappointing than to get up on the weather's right, everything's perfect, the rut's going on, and you get in your stand and the battery's dead and nothing happens.
That's really neat. There's right there. Yeah, exactly, and that's not very expensive either.
No, they're not.
You'll spend that much on batteries.
Yes, sir. And you don't have to worry about charging them.
I wonder when they're going to come out with that. I like that.
And this little item right here is a pretty simple little gadget. It's made to hold the carcass open once you take out the inside. You open the carcass so that the body can cool. This is particularly good if the weather's warm. And, if you're shooting pigs, you sure got to get them cooled in a hurry. They can spoil on you. So that's
We used to use sticks and all, but now that'd be a lot more handy.
Yeah, this is stainless steel. Just stick it in there and prop it open, and it'll cool out on you. This last item here is a funny looking thing. This item right here, let me get it where you can see it.
All right.
Is used to cut up through the rib cage and the pelvic.
Okay.
When you're gutting a deer, you know how hard it is to cut through bone. Well, this thing will just cut it right easy. Just go through and chop it out. And this is something really new and I think a really handy gadget.
That's stainless steel.
That's stainless steel, right. Yeah. To make it easier, it's really safer than you taking a big old knife and trying to cut through bone, and you can take this and it's like cutting paper, with a pair of scissors.
And you're right, it's a lot safer. Right? That's the first thing I think about. It's a lot safer than how we do it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, what are they going to think of next? I mean,
I always think as far as we can go, and it always gets better. So.
I talk to my class about outdoor inventions, and they have to invent something even on paper and all. I need to show them something like that. They never would have thought about it.
Yeah, my wife the other day, we were talking about something like that. She said, "Why don't you invent something like that?" I always, if I get a good idea, somebody else will copy it anyway, so I don't worry about it.
All right, let's go and take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. So here, Ronnie Groom from C&G Sporting Goods, and we're always admonishing, always asking all to be real careful in the outdoors. It could be going fast in a boat or in a duck blind, or we have people hurt in all kind of ways. But tree stands this time of year seems to take the front page for a month or so. And Ronnie, tell us about this situation here. We've got a picture here I want you to look at. This is a friend of my son's and mine, and it's his name was Chuck Nash. He used to live here. He's a fine young man. Fell out of a tree stand. Didn't fall out of it. He was climbing down a ladder, which is, that's a simple thing to do, but he fell and he broke his leg, and he even broke part of his other leg. And, this is not just common to tree stands. This could happen if you're stepping off the back porch, stepping off a curb or something. It's not just in tree stands. But the thing is, you're in the woods and you're by yourself. Chuck was by himself. He had his cell phone, luckily, but he only had one bar on it, but he did get out. Wow. Because he was right by himself. And, it's very important if you go to take your cell phone and tell somebody exactly where you're going to be. It's a good idea to get an aerial photograph and mark all your stands. And when you leave in the morning, take a pen and put in there where the stand you're going to hunt. So if you don't come back, somebody can at least know where to go get you. But, tree stand accidents are not common. But it's the fact that you're in the woods by yourself. We have all these safety belts and everything now that make it a lot safer. So we just want to encourage people to be careful because he's going to be out of work now for about 25 weeks. Oh, my goodness. He's just going to be laid up in the bed. So be careful. Yeah, and we'll talk about that again, reiterate, talking about letting people know where you are. That's one of the biggest things. That's the main thing. Yeah. That's the main thing. Okay. This is a picture I took right here of a tree stand up next to a tree stand I've got. It's some wild pigs, and I love to shoot pigs. These pigs are, they are some kind of good eating. And 2 of those boars in there are no longer with us, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So this is on your place up there?
Yeah, that's a little place.
You have to control them. If you didn't shoot them, they'd be all over the place up there.
If they get around there real regular, they'll run your deer off from there too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the deer is still there, but not around your feeder like you want to be. And I had rather eat a pig than a deer.
Did you find you got any kind of pattern on the pigs? Are they going to come eat about any time? Or
if you don't mess with them, they'll come pretty regular. But you go in there and shoot one of them, it may be 2 weeks before they come back at all. A hog is a very smart animal, and he's hard to deal with. He can smell just as good as a deer.
Yeah, you're right. Once you get them spooked a little bit, they become a little more hesitant to do the pattern they have. We found that out too.
And this is around another feeder here. It's just some deer. There's a couple bucks in there, and you can't see it, but off to the left over there, there was 7 or 8 deer in there. It was 2 bucks, I think, and the rest were does. And when you get 5 or 6 does in an area, you're probably getting too many, and you need to take 1 or 2 of them out, especially if you got 8 or 10. A lot of does.
Now, is that how you judge yours? If you in an area you've got more than 5 or 6?
Yeah, if I got particularly 6 or 7 or 8 does, you need to take 1 or 2 of them out. Don't let them get too thick. That's just good.
What time do you have your feeder set?
Mine go off at 6:30 and 4 o'clock in the evening. 6:30 in the morning and 4 o'clock in the evening.
That's on stay. Let me hold it right here.
Some people say that big bucks won't come to a feeder. Well, I can tell you right now that's not true. Now, they're not going to be as frisky as these other deer, but when time getting right, it's like, the time's getting right now for these bucks to rut, and they're going to come. A lot of times they'll come by. In fact, that particular feeder, I remember a big one came in during the peak of the rut, and he walked by that feeder, and he never slowed down. He just smelled a little bit and went right on. He was looking for does.
He wasn't hungry,
but he came to the feeder because it's where the does hang out, and he was looking there to find one, so that's a good thing, because a lot of times they won't come to it. The big ones won't come to a feeder sometimes, but if they come there looking for does, that's just as good as them feeding there.
Now, do you set when you got your stand up and your feeder up, and the buck's gonna be coming in? Do you have any kind of wayside stands where you try to ambush them anywhere, or you always just wait on them to come to that area?
I hunt from the ground quite a bit on a stool. We back up. And sometimes those bucks will play around and eat all away from the feeder or the food source, and then when it gets late, they'll come in. It's too late to shoot. So if you can hunt on their route into the feeder, that's a good thing to do.
Yeah. All right. That's a great picture here.
Yeah, this is a great thing. This is a great young lady. This is Caitlin Rogers, and she's just a super hunter. And if you look at that deer, that is a fine deer. And that's not her first one either. And she's killed turkey gobblers, and she's a terrific shot, and she's just a fine personality and just one of my favorite people.
Up there in Calhoun County.
Yeah, somewhere. I think it was in Calhoun County. She killed that deer, and she hunts up there, and she's just a fine person, and she loves to hunt. We're getting more and more women into hunting. I've taken 2 women in the last couple of months, and they both had good luck. My 16-year-old granddaughter killed a big old one of those hogs you saw the picture of.
Yeah.
And my son's wife killed a deer the other day. So, and I love to take women, young girls and women, because they pay attention. They know they don't know anything, and they pay attention. Where a lot of times you take some burly man, he knows everything.
He knows it, yeah. We know it all.
And those women, I was amazed at how they could shoot. Kill the deer right in their tracks and the hogs. So it's a good thing to take them, and I enjoy teaching and taking them.
Yeah. And I get a kick. I mentioned this before. I was telling you off air earlier also when I'm teaching cast netting or even archery. Usually, if you give me a group of girls and a group of boys that have done neither one of them experience-wise, those girls are going to do better to start with because they listen to every word you say, and every year I'll get a kick out of that, and they'll get a bullseye before you know it.
That's right. So that's a good thing. I heard some percentage the other day, about 60% more women are hunting than used to, and that kind of thing. So that's a good thing.
Well, especially as a couple, you can go out sometimes. It's just fishing or whatever, any kind of outdoor activity with your spouse it's good. It's
my son Ron, he and his wife and his 2 boys, they'll go together. Only probably 2 of them will be hunting. The others just going along and support and just enjoy it.
Yeah. A lot of times with a camera.
You're right, with a camera taking pictures.
And
You're
you
right.
take that camera. Now, speaking of cameras, or the game cameras, this is when they really are important now, because this is when you're going to find your big buck a lot of times on the pictures.
Yeah, I have about as much fun with my cameras as I do actually hunting, and I love to take pictures, and it's amazing some of the pictures you can get. It's just amazing. I'll bring some in one day. We'll just show some pictures. I mean, birds in flight, coming into land, and raccoons climbing up into feeders and that kind of thing. It's just really a lot of fun.
Now, on your food plots, how are they looking? Are you planted some earlier? I know.
Yeah, most of them are wet.
Are they?
Yeah, they're kind of boggy, but they're still growing, and it's just an attractant. The more you can keep the deer in the area, the better you're going to be. Because a lot of the deer you kill don't come to feed us or anything, but they're moving in that area, keep them in the area. And a lot of times, if you don't have some type of attractant, and everybody around you does, it's going to hurt you, and it'd be to their benefit, not yours.
Well, another thing too, doing it most of the year and all, having something out there for them all year is important.
Right. Yeah, you need to plant summertime too, just for nutrition, because after the does give birth and the bucks have been through a rut, they need some food. They need some good food, so it's a good thing to feed them right on. Year round is the best policy.
All right, let's take this next break. Final break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Sitting with Ronnie Groom, C&G Sporting Goods. Let's take a look at our fishing game forecast today. We only have one time, brought to us by Mark Cowart, Edgewater Beach Realty. The only time today you need to get in the woods would be 11:28 to 1:28. But now, with me, if I can get out there all day, I'm going to stay all day. I'm just going to pay close attention at that point in time.
I go when I can.
Listen, what about, we're talking about deer tractor. There's all kind of new stuff, let's say new over the past 5-6 years has come out. The original, if I can remember right now, the original deer tractor we first saw way back in the day, and I started getting into what was called Tinks. Is that right?
Tink Nathan was the one that started.
That was his name.
His name was Tink Nathan. And I know him, and he's quite a guy, and he got this started, and it did very well with it. But now there's just all kind of attractants. There's attractants for smell, there's attractants for food, attractants for sex, and there's attractants that you just pour out on the ground, buy them by the bag and pour them out. There's just all kind of attractants to try to get those deer in there.
And most of them work.
They'll eat it. Yeah, they'll work. The main thing I think that attractants do is they give people confidence. Mm-hmm. And if you got confidence, and you think you're going to see a deer, you'll sit there longer and do a better job of hunting and hunt more often if you say, hey, I need to be there. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing.
Is there any particular time you need to set that out, like morning or night, or do they recommend anything?
Well, it's better. Something that will make it come out in the daytime. For instance, if you go hunt in the evening, put it out in the morning, and maybe they will come to it that afternoon. But just any time you can get something there to bring them, and there's a good chance if they don't get it this time, they'll come back, even if it's not there, expecting it the next time.
Yeah. We used to have little cotton balls and just sort of dip them in cotton and just sort of out. And then I saw one where they invented these little drip when the sun come up. I always thought that was a good idea. They still make those?
Yeah, they make them that the sun sets them off and they drip during the daytime.
And I thought that was good thinking on that.
There's just anything you can think of. We have a very big department in that area of everything you can think of to attract deer or to help you out. Calls, deer calls, and all that kind of stuff, grunt calls, and these things work. We got rattling horns. Now we got the new rattling horns that are colored black. That's a full set. Used to we had two halves.
Right.
But they say no, you need one here and rattle them together. And we've got those now too. So
to make it sound real, I guess.
Here again, what did we think of that?
Yeah, instead of half a horn, why not the whole horn? All right, look, let's talk about fishing a second. People are still catching fish this time of year. Check out these pictures right here. This is Mark Cowart, our sponsor here. He and his son. This is Michael. Michael looking real good here. They went out Sunday afternoon, found 2 schools of redfish and caught 13 redfish and 6 trout. We doubled up 3 times. Okay, that's a good 2 schools. That's some pretty redfish out here. Nice redfish there. There's Mark holding up one. So good job, Mark. And thanks for sending those. Tomorrow we're going to have a lot more pictures, too. We're going to catch up on our pictures on tomorrow's show. We finally got everything put back together, and we're going to catch up on them. But, you know, this time of year, most of us in the woods, including me and you, but these guys are still going out catching some fish.
A buddy of mine has a lease down in Weewaw, and he went yesterday or the day before, and he caught a pile of crappie. I mean, big, fat ones. He said it was just great. So don't neglect the fishing this time. You know, a good thing to do is hunt in the morning, fish in the middle of the day, and hunt in the evening. You'll get a full day of it.
You know, I know that people come down to your store and talk about the duck hunting this year. It's just been phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
And the boys now, they got this phrase called cast and blast. And what they're doing, they're blasting the ducks in the morning and casting for the redfish on the same trip.
We've sold more waders this year and decoys than ever before, I think.
It's been a new breed of hunters coming in because it's been so successful this year.
Right.
They think it's going to be this easy every year, but it's not.
Depends on the water.
It depends on the water and the duck migration. I've been through both the highs and lows of it. So
we've had so much cold weather up north now, it's pushing them down, and they're going to continue to come down. So duck hunting right to the end is going to be great.
Yeah, and we go to the last weekend of January.
Right.
In January.
We've still got a lot of that.
Casting and blasting. That's what they're doing now.
That's a good thing.
They're cast and blast. So I got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie, we'll wrap things up and all, but you and I are both about to get serious about our hunting.
Well, I'm fixing to start. You know, I haven't been much because we just went through sort of a slow time after the season opens, but it's fixing to break loose right now.
Yep. So we still find you at a store every now and then, though, right?
Sometimes, yeah. But if you come down and look at me, you better call first.
You better call first. I got tickled at that because I called one time last year, and they said, he's hunting right now.
Yeah.
I said, we must think he owns the place or something. Well, Ron, as always, I always appreciate you coming on. And
my pleasure, buddy.
And all the things you do for the outdoors and all. And run down there and see Ronnie. If you don't have to buy anything, just go down there and look around.
Come visit.
The museum.
That's right. And, come look at
take the kids and look at those mounts. The kids get a kick out of those mounts.
Yeah, oh yeah, we got a lot of them. And we're opening up a new section in our store upstairs too.
All right. Thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We appreciate your viewership. You do something good for somebody today, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.